Oh, and then
I clicked OK.
okay, all right, here we go. So we are off and running, man. Yeah, Mark, thanks once again for making this happen.
Thank you for asking me.
You and your dog have been a part of Linchpin for quite some time.
Yeah, so it's like I want to say I was actually looking at my old emails, and I think 2019 I joined January of 2019. So I've been around a while.
And your dog became a pillar of the community.
Yeah. So since we moved, I haven't been posting as much, and because I work out at the gym, I coach at a lot now too. So I still throw him in. He's sitting right over there watching me.
A very well-behaved animal. So I got a bunch of stuff I want to chat with you about because your occupational background I find fascinating. But one thing before we get into that, so you've been training for a bit. You said you got into it when you were around 30 is when you started working out, right? More or less.
Yeah, more regularly.
And you're 40, excuse me, 49 years old. You're turning 50 in December, so you get 50 around the corner.
Correct.
I'm going to be 50 in August, so I'm right there with you, my friend. And so I'm curious in that demographic or that range or whatnot, what are you noticing, if anything, from a physical working out training capacity as 50 is approaching? Something, nothing, depends on the workout. What's your 2 cents?
It depends on the workout, but probably again, we moved to Colorado 3 years ago. I don't know if altitude has anything to do with it, but the last year and a
Altitude's
half,
a real thing. I lived in
well,
Colorado
the
for three
breathing's
years.
fine. It's more the like I do a lot more with coaching stuff, so my hips get really achy and tired, and some days it's like it takes me 5 minutes to get out of bed some mornings I can jump right out, but depends on what I do.
Yeah, recovery is a real thing that I find personally like I used to be able to burn it down every single day and life was grand and that's not the case anymore. Like Monday, what is today's Wednesday, so Monday we had that disgusting 21:59 of the thrusters and the air bike and I decided to dance with the devil on that day. I'm like I'm going to make myself hurt today. Whatever the time is, like I'm going to make myself hurt. And because of that, yesterday, was Beachbody, a classic monthly test, and I like made a conscious decision. I'm like, I am not going to try to chase a previous PR. Like I'm just going to go at what feels like 80% today. I'm going to stop whenever I feel like that's that. And that will allow me to feel good and feel ready for today. And like I didn't used to have to do that when I was 35, but I
Yeah.
actually have to do that now. And it works.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. Like I said, I now we're one of the other coaches talked to me. She did a high rocks with someone else last year.
Did you do it?
And she did it with another woman. So she did the women's team. She wants to do a mixed doubles. So she volunteered me. So we're doing that in Dallas in November. So I don't like running. That's not my favorite. So that's
That's
one thing I
cool
have to work
though.
on.
That's cool. My wife and I actually want to do a high rocks.
Nice.
And just show up. And I have no interest in making it like a miserable event. God bless my wife. She's like, let's just jog. Let's not try to be heroes. Like, let's just jog
Okay.
it. It's like, I like that idea. Let's go make it a fun thing. It takes whatever it takes, and then have a blast. So there's one going down in Dallas in November, huh?
No, the weekend before Thanksgiving. And then
Interesting.
there's one in Anaheim in December because the gym we're getting groups to go to both. And there's one, I think it's December 14th time frame.
Okay.
That's in Anaheim. So we have
Okay.
people who want to go to one, so one's better for each. So a
Oh,
couple groups going.
so one way or another, you got to embrace the running.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not afraid of any of the movements really. It's just the running in between. It's like I gotta get
What
that
is it?
game.
What does it come out to for running? I can't remember. Is it five
Five miles
miles-ish?
total. 5 miles total, I think. Pretty
Okay.
even. It's
All
thousand
in like
meters in
all in
between.
like 1,000 meter chunks.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay, interesting. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I would kind of like to do it. It seems I don't look forward to the wall balls at the end.
No.
I hate wall balls in general, but they just don't treat my shoulders and neck well. So I usually modify them, but I'd feel like some peer pressure to do them because it'd be like at the events of that. I'm kind of like, let's see how that is. Especially at the end, I'm like, oh, it's gonna suck at the end. But oh well, it'll be, maybe I'll just have my wife do them all.
Well, the mixed doubles, it's a 14-pound wall ball. So like
Yes.
that. I'm like, I can
Now
do
we're talking. Okay,
that.
good. That's a game changer. Is it still 10 feet for the target, do you know, or what's it?
Yeah, it's still the same target for
Okay.
male and female.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, interesting. So yep, so you're working out in the basement right now, but before we get to that, you know, exchange some information before this interview here. I was curious, you said you graduated technical college in 96 with an associate's degree in electro-mechanical technology. What in the heck is that?
It's electrical. It's we did a lot of robotics type stuff, like building the panels to control the robots and programming the robots.
What robots? Just any robots?
Yeah, it was kind of a general knowledge where we had like at school we had like 3 or 4 different robots they had, and so you just learned to program them to. We had like milk cartons. We had one from GM as I forget what it was called, but it was literally as big as a car and it had one big claw. And we had to program it to pick up a little cardboard milk carton, pick it up and set it somewhere, and it smashes it all the time because it open or closed. But yeah, you just kind of program it what its job is supposed to do and then test it, make sure it does what it's supposed to without breaking things. And
So first of all, whether you're humble or not, I want to admit it, you're smart. I barely graduated college with a degree in sociology. You have like an actual hard degree. Um, and you were decades ahead of the whole like robots taking over industry and working in
yeah,
factories. I mean, 96, that's really impressive. And how crazy is that back then it took a robot the size of a car to like pick up a gallon of milk and it didn't even do it well.
yeah, exactly. It's
So
so
what's
clunky. It's
your
like
take with your background and your knowledge when you look at the landscape now and how far do you follow it, like how far robotics have come, the AI revolution, all this stuff, people worried about robots taking over jobs. Do you think that's an actual real fear or still 15, 20 years away from really seeing an impact?
it depends on the industry because I know there's an Amazon place being built close here, and I've heard those things are so automated that the robots go down the aisles, pick things off, and humans hardly touch it except for putting in boxes. So there's highly robotic stuff like that. Me being from a chemical company, it was automated, but there weren't robots. There's a computer telling this valve to open at a certain time or turning mixers on. And
I see.
it depends on, in my mind, as to where you're going to be, like an Amazon type thing where it's going to be a ton of stuff. Or, sometimes it's not going to be robots. It's going to be probably AI controlling valves. But
Hmm. Yeah, I talked to somebody else and they said, I don't want to get my facts mixed up. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that something like at a typical Amazon factory, whatever the workforce is, and maybe not in like upper management, but like on the floor doing the labor,
mhm,
it's something like at least half of it is automated, like
yeah,
not which is crazy. I mean, and you have to think that's only going to increase. I mean, as
I
technology
know.
gets better, and then if the company can do it, well, that's less payroll. Right?
Yeah,
They're going to want to do that. The robots don't have health care. They don't have 401ks. They don't take sick days. They don't take lunch breaks. They probably just have to charge. I mean, I would think companies that can pull that off, that's going to be quite the
yeah,
incentive.
knock a lot of people out of work. But then
Oof.
the field I was in, being in maintenance, it didn't affect mine because someone has to fix it when it breaks. So
Yeah.
for me,
It's
it didn't wasn't going to replace me. I guess.
Exactly. That would be an interesting thing if I was, a young person looking to get a degree these days and looking ahead to the future. I'd have to put a lot more thought into what path I was going than, when I got out of college. It seemed like, I mean, that wasn't even on the horizon. Well, maybe it was for you because you got the degree that you got in 96, but most of us were blissfully ignorant that that might, occur or not. So you get that degree. You said you worked for 4 or 5 years in industrial maintenance at a plastic extrusion company. What in the world is plastic extrusion? I don't even know what that word means.
It's so the first job right out of, I call it my first real job out of school. I moved to northern Wisconsin and it was a foam plant. So we had this, it started out big. We had big silos and stuff. Raw plastic would come in through pipelines and stuff and drop in. They'd they had their mixtures where they'd add different plastics to make what they want, oils, whatever chemicals they needed. And then it was basically this machine. It was a big screw machine. It was probably 30 feet long. It all went in one end, and then the screw mixed it all up and mashed it. And then it came out the other end, one big circle. And then there
Okay.
was cutter that would cut it. So we were making foam, so it would inject gas at the end to make the bubbles of the foam. And a cutter would open it, and then it would just roll it flat. And then there's rollers to help get it to the right thickness. It was just rollers everywhere it went through. And we had scanners that would get the thickness and adjust on the fly to make it right. And then at the end of the line, it would make literally 8 foot tall roll of foam, probably 8 foot tall by 8 foot wide on a center shaft. And then they'd put it in the back room to age for a month or so. And then we had these formers, they would put it on this machine, go through a big oven, heat it up, and then it would go through this little press. We made plates, bowls, and cups.
Okay,
And
that
then,
was gonna be my question. Okay.
yeah, and it came out the other end of the press with the plates, and then went up over this big press that would cut them all out. And that was all automated. And then we had people at the end who would reach in, grab a stack, put it in a bag. The end people were packaging it in bags and put it in boxes.
Okay, fascinating.
Otherwise, no human touched it really from start to beginning.
Man, I find factories, industry, the whole like manufacturing process of anything really so just so interesting. I mean, it's all you usually
Uh,
see the finished product, but you don't actually see how the sausage is made. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
it's always way more interesting and complicated and just mind-boggling. Like just to make what we consider like a plastic bowl, this must be easy. It's like, you'd be surprised at how
Yeah,
much,
a lot of steps to
machinery is
it.
used to do that. So you did that for a handful of years, and then you said for 20 years you were at a chemical company and you did installing and maintaining any and all electrical and mechanical equipment. What kind of equipment are we talking about? And did you have to get a different training to be able to know how to install and maintain this stuff?
No, we had on the job training with because we had hazardous chemicals that sometimes you had to wear respirators or even SCBA because it's cancerous if you breathe it. And
Was that scary at all?
I think I was young and dumb enough where like, do this. Okay, I'll go do that. I think it's probably probably 10 years in, I just remember one of our worst chemicals, a seal on a pump was leaking, so we had to clean it all out, long process to clean it and everything. But there's always still a little bit left in the bottom of the pump. And I was probably like 30 feet away, nowhere near it. And I was watching because I was kind of on the rescue team or whatever, getting ready to get water if they needed it. But they pulled the pump out of the housing, and all of a sudden I could just see the big vapor cloud just surround them. It's like,
Oh, really?
so we had non-sparking tools for stuff like that. But so I think that was probably the day where I go like, this stuff is kind of nasty, can be nasty.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah. So safety, needless to say, was like a huge priority. Was
Yeah.
it? I don't know how to phrase this. It's not supposed to be like insulting to your previous employer, like it's just genuine curiosity. Every company will say that safety is a priority, you know, but maybe
Hmm.
safety is expensive and time consuming, and so they're okay if you are make safety kind of a priority. Like just get the job done. Was safety like a real priority? Was it like kind of a priority?
That's a sticky, it's kind of one of those where like they want you to be safe, but then the timeline,
But
hey,
we
they,
gotta hustle.
they want this working by the end of the day. And it's like, you don't want to rush this, but so there's
Mm,
always pressure, but if we had to, we just like, we'll get it done. We don't
good
want
for
to hurt
you.
ourselves, but we'll do as quick
Yeah,
as we can. But so there was pressure to, can we cut corners? And we would, in maintenance, we're like, no, we're not going to, because number one, someone could get hurt, or the fix will only last a week rather than 2 years.
right.
You don't want to do it again.
Over the course of your time there, did you witness some, I guess, accidents, industrial accidents, whatnot, or was things generally pretty good?
We were actually pretty good. There's a few times where a valve might have been put on either open or closed with automation. It has to be put on in the power down position. And sometimes if you get too many hands in the cookie jar, and
Mm,
someone who took one off, they're not there that day when you put it back together. Someone may put it in wrong. So we've had a few, not major things, but minor things where like, where's all this going? It's going somewhere, and tracing it
mm,
down is always contained, but it's like
interesting.
you don't want to go into the wrong spot.
And you said the first company made like plastics, cups and bowls and whatnot. What did the company you were at for 20 years do?
We didn't make any finished ingredients. We made ingredients for household cleaners. Like I know one thing was car seats. It was
Huh.
goes into foam that makes car seats. We made products for other people, fuel additives, paint additives.
Oh, interesting.
We made even like some wax stuff for like I know this was a big project or a big contract. We made this really it turned into basically wax and we had to make it into this special machine that chipped it, but it was used to epoxy nuclear reactor floors. I don't know, something with nuclear reactors. It was used to epoxy stuff.
Man, it sounds like if all this stuff wasn't in a closed system, that a respirator would be your friend.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you notice if something like a valve packing was leaking or something, you'd walk by and you get a big whiff of ammonia, like, whoa, it's easy to track down because it knocks you on your feet if you're not ready for it.
And you said during your time at that, this always fascinates me that a lot of your work was outside, all weather conditions. I mean, people doing labor and people doing labor outside year round. I mean, that is a special occupation. So, what was the climate where you were? How did that affect what you were doing? Well, what just brings back some of those memories?
Well, it was in southern Wisconsin, so we had all the weather. We had
Oh,
winter days down. I think the worst was probably like 3 weeks straight where it was like negative 15 for the high.
oh my goodness.
So, I mean, all the pipelines are insulated with either electric heat trace or steam. We had two huge boilers. So we had steam trace on a bunch of stuff to keep things warm. So winter was not fun. And then everything's in pipelines above you. So for me, being I was mostly electrical. I did a bunch of stuff, but all the valves were up in this pipeline. So snow coated, ice coated pipes, you're crawling through this pipeline trying to get to a valve and the
So how
wires.
do you have the dexterity to do the handwork?
Well, that's the thing. The wires were like super tiny, and I had to take my gloves off. So I'm like wiring transmitters, valves, and after like 2 minutes, I'm like, I gotta put my gloves on for a while and
Yeah.
back and then
Oh,
summer,
that's
it could
rugged.
be 90 degrees and 90% humidity.
And nobody cares. Just got to get the work done.
Yep. It's nice when it rained. You just stay in the rain. It's like, oh, this feels nice in the summer. I don't care if I get wet.
Was it one of those? I mean, that sounds like rugged work. Was it one of those situations that I think we've all experienced, right? Where you could be digging ditches for a living. And if you're doing it with a good crew that you're cutting up and joking, like it's still rugged work, but at
Yeah.
least it's better. But if you're digging ditches and the person next to you just sucks the joy out of life, then
Yeah.
that's nothing. Did the crews make a big deal? And, were you lucky or unlucky in that arena?
For the most part, we were pretty lucky. I mean,
Oh,
I wouldn't have
good.
2 days, but we had one guy he was angry at everything. So that made it kind of tough sometimes. I mean, he would get mad about what music was playing in the shop. It's like
Oh,
he was another story, but I
you
didn't,
can't help them all, right?
yeah, I didn't have to work with him much because he was more mechanical. He was afraid of the electrical. So I,
Good.
I stayed away from him as much as possible, but for the most part, it was good. I mean, the worst days were like winter. Didn't happen very often, but like a power outage. So the boilers would stop, no electric trace. You have literally probably half hour before things start freezing up.
Mm.
There were times where things froze up and it would take us almost a week to get everything unfroze, like pipelines freezing.
Oh, wow.
If they freeze, water expands and it breaks the pipeline and
Right.
it's
Oh,
a
what a
it can be a
nightmare.
nightmare. Yeah.
Oh,
It was a fun job. I mean, there's so much to do that, like you said, some days flew by and you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. But some days it's like, when is this going to end? I want to go
Yeah,
home
but
and get some more.
that does sound like an occupation that is going to be in need for quite some time and not going to be replaced easily by AI or robotics.
Yeah. I mean, maintenance, some will probably be able to, I wouldn't think very much, but I mean, just the dexterity to be able to, I mean, electrical panels, there's wires everywhere and you have to
Hmm.
follow it to, it just looks like a big wasp nest in there and you're trying to find one wire that's messing up. It's
You know,
challenging.
and a lot of those occupations that are generally categorized by people as blue collar trades, right? There seems to be like there's been a resurgence in embracing the trades again and like the workforce and technical skills and all that. And hopefully that's exactly what you're doing. And I think
Yeah.
that these days, given everything else that's happening, it's probably a smart call for a lot of young people looking to, get out there in the workforce.
Yeah, and before we moved, I heard it's just hard to get people in skilled trades now because everyone wants to do the cool computer stuff or whatever. So it's I from what I hear, they're hurting. It's hard to get people.
That's what I heard as well. And I've got a one buddy that's an electrician and he's young. I want to say he's 30 and finished his apprenticeship and all that, so he's whatever the full, he's up and running now. Makes a very good wage. I mean, he's doing quite well as an electrician and probably as less people go into that trade, he's probably going to be able to charge an even higher rate for his
Yeah,
work. He's doing quite well.
exactly. I mean, skilled trades you do get paid better just because, well, and I was on call all the time, so minimum 40 hours a week, sometimes 50 and 60, especially winter when things would freeze or break down more.
How was that work-life balance with having a family and having a job that you're on call?
It was, I mean, they were still flexible. I mean, we had five of us in maintenance, and I was probably there 10 years before they got a on-call phone. Otherwise, they would just call whoever they thought, because it runs 24/7, the plant, and maintenance was Monday through
Mm,
Friday, 8 hours a day, and
right.
you're called
And
in on
things don't
weekends.
only go wrong during that schedule.
Yeah. So they finally got an on-call phone, and then some people were new, so the process guys would just be like, he's on call. I'm gonna call Mark because he's been here for 15 years. He'll fix it in like 5 minutes. The other guy will take like half hour, 2 hours to fix it. So I was kind of always on call towards the end. And I'm like, call these new guys. They're not gonna learn.
That's awesome.
But
That's a
otherwise, yeah, I mean, me and my wife, we had plenty of time at night, and our son, they knew if I had a soccer game with our son or something, someone else would cover. So everyone was good with that,
Oh, that's cool.
kind of helping if someone needs it.
So that's just fascinating to me. So we touched briefly, that you get into fitness around 30, and you said, that your brother told you about CrossFit quite a while ago, like 2013. I mean, 12 years ago. That's a good amount of time there in the past. Oh, let's see. You're frozen. Let me see if you're gonna come back. All right, hold on.
I can hear
Thank you.
you.
Oh, I got you. I got you. You're back. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So it said, you said that you stumbled upon CrossFit in 2013 through your brother, which was, 12 years ago. It's quite
Yeah.
a time ago, which is awesome. And, dabbled, got into it, hit a gym that eventually changed hands and you didn't like where that was going. You said, is that what made you look into Linchpin, if I'm recalling it correctly?
Yeah. I think even probably 4 or 5 months before I quit coaching there, I've been on Instagram. I think I've done some of your workouts I saw on Instagram. So I was kind of looking. I think I remember the first time I looked at your website. I'm going like, that's way too advanced for me, especially with the brutally elegant. And all. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that stuff. So I was looking all over, and then one day one of your workouts popped up, and I did it, and then I'm like, oh, let me just try it for a while, and then I just joined all in and haven't stopped since.
And obviously stoked you've been around forever, and been following your journey through the Facebook page forever as well. I feel like I know you and your dog even before we clicked on today. But what I'm curious about, just because I haven't met somebody doing it before, is um, The you also coach at F45, right?
Correct. Yeah.
It's funny. Some people like don't ever want to talk about something other than CrossFit. They see things as threats. Like I see everything as different. Like you want to do high rocks, do high rocks. I don't care. You
Yeah.
want to do something else, do it. I don't care. Like it's a really big fitness world out there. There's plenty of room for everybody. And I've never actually spoken with somebody who has familiarity with F45. So you maybe broadening your horizons. You said you went and you got a ACE certification for personal
Yeah.
training
Correct.
before you
Yeah.
could coach at the F45. Tell me about I assume that was a requirement, and what was the ACE certification process like?
It was just a lot of people have like the NASM
Yeah, yeah,
personal trainer stuff. I think they're all somewhat similar.
right.
I don't. So it went through a lot of like movements, body parts, being able to know different planes of movement and functional movements, and it's just kind of similar to CrossFit, but a little more into the scientific explanations of stuff. But
Gotcha.
yeah, it was like it didn't take too long. But
Just
after
online?
yeah, it was online, and it took me a month or so. It's like when we moved to Colorado, that's why I'm in pre-retirement now. All I do is coach at F45 and take care of Mozzie.
Right.
But yeah, it was challenging just to know to pass the test. There's a proxy test at the end that you have to pass, and then you get your certificate, and then it's every 2 years you have to renew it.
Okay.
Without doing a proxy test, you just do continuing education, so many credits for 2 years, and then you can renew.
Okay, interesting. And so I asked this with like no agenda. I genuinely don't know. I've heard of F45 and I've heard it's depending upon what blog or Instagram post or whatever, it's similar to CrossFit. It's nothing like CrossFit. It's a CrossFit competitor. It's a CrossFit ripoff. No, it's not. It's totally different. What is it? And you've got the actual boots on the ground experience. So what is it?
So someone told me this explanation, and I kind of agree with it now that I've been there long enough. You got Orange Theory and you have CrossFit. F45 is like right in the middle. So
Okay.
it's all functional movements still. We're doing same squats and different things, but we don't do the technical. We do dumbbell snatches, but we won't do barbell snatches.
Okay.
We do cleans, barbell cleans, but we don't do jerks. We'll do presses, but we get actually a decent amount of people from CrossFit who say CrossFit's just beating them up too much.
Interesting.
So they come to F45 and it's literally a 45-minute workout from start to finish. And instead of reps and rounds, it's different every day, but it's basically a time domain where like today's workout was four combo sets. You do 35 seconds of work with a strength, do 35 seconds of a mobility or core. You got to choose. Then you do that 4 times. Then you move on to the next station. And today I had 5 stations. We can have anywhere from like 5 up to like 27 stations. And it's the 27 is usually on a Saturday where it's an hour long and you're just going through all the
Okay.
different movements.
So with generally, like you mentioned, cleans, power cleans are also like a full squat clean.
Both. We'll do both, but
Okay.
so that's the only thing I wish I had more time because literally the class starts, we do a demo and an intro, and it's literally I get 10 seconds to describe while the other coach is doing the movement. So to explain a power clean to people who have never done that in 10 seconds, it's not that easy.
No,
So
that's you should
it's
write a book.
challenging and so I use during class time to kind of help people. We can pause our TV because it's all automated in time, but we
Oh,
can pause for
interesting.
up to like 20 seconds. So on those days, I'll say, I need more time. So we're gonna pause it and go through this a little bit better, but still not great.
Gotcha.
So it's just a
Okay.
little more time format where we have so much time to move on to the next.
And if it's, you said kind of that middle ground, would there be a day that's like a 5 by 5 back squat where you're getting, 4 minutes rest between sets or something?
Funny you should ask that. Actually, today, we have phases, so it's a 4 week phase, same workouts each week. It's a different one, Monday through Friday. But so today it's called Pinnacle, and it's a peak lift one. We're telling people in the middle movement, you want to take, you get 35 seconds only, but you want to do 5 to 6 reps as
Okay.
heavy as possible. I said like the fifth and sixth, I mean, you barely standing, it's a deadlift today. So you barely can stand it up by that sixth rep. And then you get to rest. And we only get like a minute rest before we have to
Gotcha.
come
Okay.
back and do
Okay.
it again. It's not as long as 3 minutes, but I don't know why people here do not like to rest. So it's hard to get them to rest. They want to do something in between.
It
So
can be tough to get anybody to rest. That's also a
yeah,
struggle. Even CrossFitters get so used to doing things for time that they don't want to take ample rest between, but be it
yeah,
heavy sets of a lift or, 6 by 400 meter repeats. Like, let's do it again. It's like, well, no, no. That's why it's 6 by 400 meter repeats and it's not go run 1.5 miles. Like, we actually want you to rest so that you can do the 400s hard. Like, I think it's challenging to get a lot of people to rest, quite frankly.
it was funny. Last week, I actually took Mozzie to the gym. First class, he was tied off to the middle. And I think as the second, I coached 4 classes on Wednesday. Is halfway through the second class, I'm like, the other coach were like, let's put Mozzie in the middle in the rest station, and that'll help people rest. So they're all petting him, and like, there we go.
Smart.
He's resting.
That's smart. That's a great way to do it. That's fascinating. Very, very interesting. Um, Very cool. Yeah, I haven't spoken to anybody who's got firsthand experience as well. Like I said, man, it's a big fitness world out there.
Still a great workout. I mean,
Do
all
whatever you want to do and have a blast as far as I'm concerned.
exactly.
It's going to be cool. Man, I'll tell you what, you've planted in my head, whether you realize it or not. I wonder if I can make it to that High Rocks in Dallas. You say Dallas?
Dallas, yeah.
November.
November 21st. They're
Mixed
those
doubles.
tickets are going on sale and we're waiting for it, but they sell out fast.
How much is a ticket?
So I want to say for a mixed doubles, I know my partner I'm going with, I think it was 150 bucks for both of them, which doesn't,
Okay.
I didn't think that was horrible.
No, if you were going to say 150 each, I was going to have a mild heart attack. 150 for both. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Like, all right. I'm not stoked, but okay. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Yep.
okay,
So there's,
interesting.
they sell out now. The lady I'm doing it with, she wanted to do a solo one in Canada. I don't know when it is, but she got on the day they went for sale and she didn't get in because so
Really? It's like a
yeah,
Taylor Swift concert.
exactly. And
Wow.
our studio F45 is we just recently got affiliated with High Rocks, so
Okay.
I guess we get a 2 day pre-sale.
Oh,
So we'll see. We're
interesting.
waiting for it to happen and we'll see if we get tickets or not.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll have to keep you posted and if that's something that actually happens. But Mark, man, I appreciate you, being a member of Linchpin for so long, sharing your story and giving us an insight into not only your occupation, but what you got going on these days. It's fascinating.
Thank you. Thanks for, like I said, inviting me. It was great.
No, 100%, man. Well, enjoy and good luck at the High Rocks event.
Thanks.